Have you ever wondered why some people cannot be alone? I'm not just referring to feeling lonely, but to that constant need to be accompanied, to emotionally depend on others. Perhaps you have identified with this pattern, or maybe you have noticed that certain people always seek a relationship to feel complete. But what lies behind that need? Today, we are going to explore how the maternal complex may be affecting your emotional life without you realizing it. What happens when the love and validation we seek are deeply linked to a maternal figure? Is it possible that our way of relating to others is a reflection of our relationship with that first figure of care and protection in our lives? Let's delve deeper. According to Jung, the maternal complex forms when a person fails to healthily integrate their relationship with their mother. It doesn't matter if the mother was affectionate or distant. The key is how that primary emotional relationship influences our development and how we feel about ourselves throughout life. And it's not just about the biological mother, but any caregiving figure that played that role in our childhood. But what is the maternal complex? The maternal complex is not just a matter of affection or distrust. It is a kind of emotional imprint that, if not properly integrated, affects our ability to relate to others independently. When a person is caught in this complex, they often feel a great need to be cared for, to receive attention, and above all, to have someone occupy that maternal role in their life. This complex can manifest in many ways, some very obvious, such as emotional dependence in relationships, fear of loneliness, a constant need for external validation, or even the inability to set healthy boundaries. At its core, there is a search for a love that is perceived as healing, something that returns that security and care that may have never been fully experienced during childhood. And what is the reason for not being able to be alone? Here comes the most interesting part. When we are too focused on the need for a maternal or paternal figure, we may unconsciously be seeking in others what we could not obtain from our primary caregivers. This pattern repeats itself in all our relationships, even when we are adults, creating what Jung called emotional transferences. In other words, we project our unresolved needs onto others, hoping that romantic relationships, friendships, or even co-workers will provide us with what we did not receive. And here, a great question arises. Are we really seeking love and support from others, or are we simply looking for something we have lost within ourselves? How does the maternal complex manifest? People with this complex tend to feel empty when they are alone, not only because they lack company, but because they feel they are losing that sense of protection and security. This can lead them to do things they do not want, such as staying in toxic relationships, over-adapting to others' expectations, or even living with a constant fear of being abandoned. The maternal complex can present itself in various scenarios. Perhaps you depend on your partner to feel valid, or you feel a constant need to have someone close to avoid that feeling of emptiness. In other cases, it may manifest as controlling behavior towards others, seeking to take on the role of caretaker to feel loved. The path to individuation. For Jung, the process of individuation is the key to overcoming the maternal complex and any other patterns that limit us in life. But what does individuation actually mean? Basically, it refers to the process of becoming who we truly are, integrating all parts of our psyche, both the conscious and the unconscious. It is a continuous and profound process of self-knowledge, where it is about accepting all aspects of ourselves, even those that we often reject or do not understand. This path to individuation is the journey that takes us from emotional dependence to emotional autonomy and psychological maturity. Now, how can we begin to walk this path? Here are some steps that Jung proposed that can help you start this process of transformation. 1. Recognize the shadow. Jung said that an important part of individuation is recognizing our shadow, those aspects of ourselves that we have repressed or denied. In the case of the maternal complex, our shadow could be composed of all the emotions and needs that we have not learned to manage in a healthy way, such as the fear of loneliness or the need for external validation. Practical step. Take a moment to reflect on the emotions or needs that you feel you have not been able to integrate into your life. When do you feel most vulnerable? Are there times when you seek to cling to someone out of fear of feeling incomplete? Recognizing these moments will help you begin to understand what you need to heal. 2. Accepting our emotional needs. The maternal complex often stems from a lack of acceptance of our own emotional needs. Accepting that we need love, support, and companionship does not mean we are weak. On the contrary, it is a sign of self-compassion and emotional maturity. However, recognizing those needs is only the first step. The next is learning to meet them in a healthy way. Practical step. Ask yourself, how can you start taking care of yourself in a way that does not depend on others? It may involve learning to enjoy your own company, creating a self-care routine, or seeking emotional support in places that help you grow, not depend. The goal here is to find balance, giving yourself what you need without placing all your emotional responsibility on others. 3. Work on emotional autonomy. Emotional autonomy is the ability to be emotionally independent. It is fundamental for individuation and for breaking patterns of dependency. Jung believed that emotional autonomy allows us to act from our authentic self without being constantly influenced by fear, insecurity, or the need for external validation. Practical step. You can start by identifying your own emotions without trying to modify them or depending on others to validate them. Accept what you feel in each moment, without judgment, and begin to make decisions based on your own values and desires, not on what others expect from you. 4. Explore the internal archetypes. Each of us has several internal archetypes that guide our lives. The maternal complex is related to the archetype of the mother, but Jung also spoke of other archetypes that are part of our psyche, such as the hero, the wise one, or the inner child. Working on individuation involves knowing and embracing all these archetypes in order to integrate and transform them into positive forces. Practical step. Reflect on the archetypes that dominate your life. Perhaps the archetype of the mother is still taking up too much space, or maybe the archetype of the hero is trying to save others instead of saving yourself. Work on balancing them by recognizing when and how each of these archetypes appears in your life. 5. Develop the integration of the feminine and masculine soul, anima and animus. Jung said that within each of us there is an anima, feminine soul, or an animus, masculine soul, depending on whether we are men or women. These aspects represent the opposite part of our psyche, and the integration of both is crucial for achieving individuation. Practical step. Start exploring and accepting the parts of yourself that you have denied. If you are a man, there may be a feminine part within you that you would like to explore more, such as sensitivity or creativity. If you are a woman, it may be time to recognize your strength, independence, and assertiveness. The key is to balance these aspects and understand that it is not just about being feminine or masculine, but about integrating both aspects to achieve greater wholeness. 6. Seek meaning and purpose in life. For Jung, individuation was not just a psychological process, it was also a spiritual and philosophical path. The meaning of life, the purpose we seek, is deeply connected to the process of integrating our different parts. It is important to seek a purpose beyond social expectations. Practical step. Reflect on what you truly want to achieve in this life. Are you living according to what others expect of you? Or are you pursuing something that resonates with your authentic self? This step involves making an honest assessment of your life and deciding what is most important to you. So, have you realized how this complex might be influencing your life? What relationships or patterns have you noticed that could be related to the maternal figure in your life? If you feel that this topic resonates with you, maybe it's time to pause and reflect on how you are managing your emotions and your relationships. Remember, true transformation comes when we decide to look inward and heal those wounds that prevent us from living fully. Now that you have gained a deeper insight into the maternal complex and the path toward individuation, what steps are you going to take in your life to begin this process? Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and for being so brave on this journey of inner transformation. You are an important part of this community, and we can continue to grow together. If this content has touched you, share it and leave your comment about what you have discovered in your life. Your experience is valuable. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our videos. I want to continue supporting you in your self-discovery and personal growth process. See you in the next video with more tools for your transformation. See you soon.